About 2,500 years ago, a Greek philosopher named Zeno of Elea came up with a handful of arguments that seem to prove motion itself is impossible. They sound like tricks, but they're not. They point at a real gap in how people understood infinity, and it took over 2,000 years of mathematics to close that gap properly. Let's walk through 3 of them. Here's the first one. The wall. Say you want to walk across a room to a wall. First, you walk halfway there. Then you walk half of what's left. Then half of that, and half of that again. Watch the dot. 1/2, 3/4, 7/8, 15/16, 31/32. Every single step gets you closer. But notice, no matter how many steps we draw, the dot is always some fraction short of the wall. Does it ever actually arrive? If you genuinely need to complete infinitely many steps, one after another, how could that process ever finish? Here's a nastier version of the same idea, and it's even more unsettling. To take one full step, you first need to take half a step. But before you can take that half step, you need to take a quarter step. And before that, an eighth. So, what's the very first step you take? Half, quarter, eighth, 16th? The closer we look, the smaller the first step gets. There is no smallest first step waiting for you to take it. The regress never bottoms out. So this paradox concludes something even stranger than the first one. You can't just fail to reach the wall, you can't even begin walking in the first place. The most famous version stars a foot race. Achilles is a fast runner. He gives a tortoise a head start and lets it go first. By the time Achilles reaches the spot where the tortoise started, the tortoise, slow as it is, has shuffled forward a little bit. By the time Achilles reaches that new spot, the tortoise has moved a little further still. Every single time Achilles closes the gap, the tortoise has already opened up a new, smaller one. Watch the elapsed time tick up. 1 second, 1.5, 1 3/4. It keeps climbing, but keeps looking like it'll never quite arrive at the moment Achilles actually passes. If catching up requires completing an endless chain of these smaller and smaller catch-up events, does Achilles ever actually get there? Let's stop describing this as an endless chain of rounds, and just look at the actual numbers. Achilles' position over time is 2 times t. The tortoise's position is 2 plus t, that head start plus its own slower pace. Plot both, as ordinary lines on an ordinary graph. They cross at exactly one point. T equals 2 seconds, position 4. That's not an infinite process, it's a single moment in time, and we can just calculate it. And look what happens right after. The blue line, Achilles, is now above the red line. He's not just caught up, he's ahead, for good. Every one of those infinite catch-up rounds Zeno describes happens before this one, perfectly ordinary 2-second mark. Here's the resolution, and it's the same idea underneath all 3 paradoxes. 1/2, plus 1/4, plus 1/8, plus 1/16, and so on forever. That infinite sum doesn't blow up to infinity. It equals exactly 1. Infinitely many terms, but they shrink fast enough that their total stays finite. That's just the geometric series formula. A, plus a times r, plus a times r squared, and so on, adds up to a over 1 minus r, whenever r is between -1 and 1. And it's exactly why Achilles actually does catch the tortoise. Each of those catch-up time intervals shrinks the same way those distances did, so the total time it takes is also a finite number, not an endless pileup. Let's actually watch what that fixed number is. Here's a number line from 0 to 1, and a dot walking the exact same fractions as the wall paradox. 1/2, 3/4, 7/8, 15/16, 31/32, 63/64. Watch it creep closer and closer to 1 with every step, but it never actually lands there. It just gets closer than any distance you could possibly name. That one fixed point the dot is endlessly approaching and never touching. Mathematicians have an exact name for it. They call it the limit. Here's the deeper reason infinite subdivision was never the problem. Take any 2 different numbers, a and b. There's always a number exactly between them, and a number between that one and a, and so on, forever. That's just an ordinary fact about numbers. Of course, space can be divided endlessly, because the number line itself works that way. So then, is there some infinitely small number sitting right next to 0? Take any positive number, no matter how tiny, cut it in half. That's still positive, and it's smaller. You can always do that again. There is no smallest positive number. So infinitesimal was never really a number. There's nothing small enough to hold that title. It's a concept, shorthand for a quantity that keeps shrinking without ever quite stopping. And the limit is what makes that concept exact. It describes the entire shrinking process as a single, well-defined number, without ever needing an actual infinitely small number to exist. Infinitely many steps, finite distance, finite time. Zeno wasn't wrong that space and time can be divided forever. He was right about that part. He just didn't have the tool that shows an infinite number of shrinking pieces can still add up to something whole. That tool is the limit.